Welcome to the Franchise Woman podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships forged. I'm Rebecca Monet, CEO and Chief Scientist at Zoracle Profiles. I'm here with my co-host, community advocate, speaker, author, and entrepreneur, Tracy Kawa. So I have a special guest for us today, Tracy. Her name is Lauren Rampello Becotte. After graduating from Northeastern in 2010, Lauren quickly became a self-funded, self-starting women in business. Lauren has overcome adversity as a business owner, having self-funded all aspects of Pure Glow until May of 2023. She also survived a battle with breast cancer in 2021, yet still managed to continue building Pure Glow. Her mission with Pure Glow is to redefine the industry standard surrounding sunless tanning and wants to provide a pure option for customers looking to unleash their inner glow. So for those of you that don't know Pure Glow is a premium airbrush tanning franchise, which is transforming the beauty space with its unique tanning solutions of organic and pure ingredients, as well as its focus on providing customers with realistic looking and long lasting tanning experience. So, Lauren, I'm so glad you're here. It's been, 3 years since I've seen you. So it's so
Been a
good.
little bit. Thank you so much for having me, Rebecca and Tracy. It's so good to be here.
We're thrilled to have you, girl. You're muted, Tracy.
How did that happen? Thank you. It's so much to unpack here today. I'm really excited about this interview with you, Lauren. I'm sure Rebecca is too. So you went to Northeastern University. You were part of the entrepreneurship club there. I would love to hear about this journey from school into the world of, reality entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. So I will say, I think a big part of sort of forming who I am as a person, is attributed to my parents. My parents were both, both self-employed. My dad had a medical practice. My mom was a nurse, became fine jewelry store owner, and they both were quite involved in the fine jewelry store. So I definitely grew up with it, and from a very early age knew that I wanted to work for myself. And so, I definitely had that lens in my undergrad program, and then as soon as I graduated school, kind of went off and started what I thought was, my dream job at the time. So my kind of perspective to undergrad, I think at a young age, it's so hard to know what you want to do exactly is, my approach was kind of like, what's something really difficult that I probably won't learn as well on my own, that's interesting to me. And so I landed on finance. And so I really, sort of enjoyed my time there, wanted to work in that industry for some time. So, went to a Fortune 100 company as soon as I graduated school. But, really in the first sort of 3 years there, knew, okay, I'm really feeling that itch. What is next for me? How do I, begin to work for myself? And so that is really, sort of what led me to, to beginning my first business, which is Pure Glow.
It's amazing how you just know so young. I don't think I figured out I was an entrepreneur until I was in my 40s. Pretty amazing. So, Lauren, we've known each other for a while, and of course, I'm vicariously living through you and your journey. You're so young, you're so beautiful, you're so smart, but you went through a lot. And I mentioned to you earlier, it's almost like you have this theme in your life around grittiness, that you have this way of just continuing on and taking on burdens, including the financial burdens of a business, willingly. So, can you talk a little bit? Do you think this is a theme in your life, this grittiness, this independence that you have?
I think, when I look back at, almost the last decade now, it's incredible how long I've been doing this. Uh, I think that there's definitely a lot of truth to that. And I think that that's probably a really, sort of insightful, theme in my life. I think, grit is really an important part of, any sort of entrepreneurial journey. But I think, with my background and sort of how I entered the industry, and how, I've sort of grown this business, and the approach I've taken, is definitely one where, grit is a really strong theme. I think for me, a lot of what drives it is, I love to learn. I'm really motivated to achieve. I also just really love building, and I've always been really strongly drawn to, creating my own destiny. And I think that, that is, I don't know where that comes from. I think that that to some extent is quite innate, right? All three of us, probably have a lot of that in us. And, but I think that, really, I enjoy my work so much, and I enjoy the building and the creating. And so, I think that while there are so many obstacles and challenges along the way, some days you just ask yourself, right? Like, is this really what I should be doing? But I always, at the same time, I feel really strongly that anything worth doing is going to be difficult, right? And that challenge is part of, part of the fun, and, part of what makes, when you do accomplish something so rewarding.
I'm just so fascinated by your strength and your determination. So you went through COVID alone, from what I understand. And it was during that time or right after that time that you were diagnosed with breast cancer?
Yeah, so it was, it was a long COVID journey. So, March is really where things started to happen. We shut down, probably a week into, knowing something was going on, like a lot of service businesses, specifically being in the Northeast, and more specifically being in Boston, Massachusetts. There was a tremendous amount of fear around COVID from the beginning till much longer. And so, I have friends that are, business owners, and live in different states and different parts of the country. And, everyone's sort of COVID experience was very different in terms of, personally how they experienced it, but also, sort of what opportunities were available, what free time they had or didn't have. And really, from my perspective, it was quite brutal. And so, we were sort of living, month to month, what is going to happen? How long is this going to last? Sort of federal support did not show up for me, and for us for a very long time. And so, as an unmarried person, I didn't have anyone financially to lean on in that regard. And so it was really a tough time. So, so kind of having battled that for, a better part of a year, at the end of February of 2021, I was, diagnosed with this chronic illness. So, to add more stress and uncertainty to my life, then that was something that, now immediately became another priority. So in addition to making sure that my team was okay, the business would survive, that the goodwill of everything we've built over the years was not harmed. Then I had to, I had this another obstacle of, how do we keep our doors open? How do we stay alive while I need to take a pretty major step back? And to be honest, I've been doing this for a long time. And so if it weren't for the pandemic, the illness would not have really been had a lot of impact in the business, right? I've had full-time managers, have a really seasoned, really experienced, fabulous staff, but the pandemic changed all that. So when I did become ill, and really treatment became quite urgent, unfortunately, coming off of the pandemic, it made things incredibly difficult.
Yes.
That's a
Yeah.
lot to juggle. The financial because of COVID. Your heart is for your staff. You built a great staff. Now, how do we keep them? And they too have to survive, right? Through that pandemic. You get ill on top of it. You're single. There's not a second income coming in. The world is crashing, and there's the unpredictable of both your physical health and what's going to happen post COVID, if it ever ends, right? You don't know at that point. So I know you're gritty. We've decided that. We know that about you. We also know that you're quite independent. But there's a part of that that requires mindset, right? So during this difficult time, how did you keep the brain engaged, the mind engaged, and continuing to move forward with this goal that you had?
You know, Rebecca, I think that you couldn't have said that better. I think that when I think of adversity and how to overcome this, it's all mental, right? It's all mindset. And so I have never really had this sort of fighter survival. I really just told myself, like, not only do I want to get through this, but I want to prepare myself to be, you know, leaps and bounds ahead when I get to the other side. And so, I think that I am fortunate to be a uniquely positive person. That really is just part of my personality. It's always how I've been. I really sort of seek out, people who are, more positive and uplifting, and surround myself by people who are like that. And so I think really, I just sort of, not necessarily an affirmation or whatnot, but really just, this is where I'm going to be when this is, and when this is all over. And then also just, realizing that so much is out of our control. So, what can you control? How you react to it, right? And how you respond. And so, trying to have as much grace and be as kind to myself. And I think a big part of going through all this was really not beating myself up, right? I didn't cause the pandemic. Couldn't control, I couldn't foresee, I couldn't, I could not predict that, I would get ill, and it would all happen so fast and so severely. And so I think that, yeah, it really comes down to, really just telling yourself and believing yourself that there are peaks and valleys in life. And, currently this, you're in a deep, deep valley, a very deep hole. So, to some extent, it's only up from here. And so, I've known that to be true. And personally, that sort of sentiment has helped me in difficult times.
Wow. Truly, wow. Rebecca, I love that question that you just asked Lauren. And then, Lauren, I love that answer about visualizing. Like, not only are you struggling to get through it, but then you're visualizing how much better it's going to be on the other side. So that takes a certain amount of visualization, right? Being able to foresee the future or envision it or put it together in a way where the story ends not only well, but like phenomenally, right? So what does that look like, that envisionment, that visionary in you? What is that?
I think you made that word up, envisionment.
Vision, what is that envisionment? What is it?
But yeah, we know exactly what you mean.
Right.
You all know what I'm saying, right?
We knew what you meant, though.
I like to poke fun at myself. I feel like I have I have an almost like uncanny amount of confidence and really confidence in myself. And I think that for better or for worse. And so I think that a lot of that is knowing what I'm capable of. I remember someone said to me, at one of my darkest days, like, if everything fails, if Pirlo entirely fails, how confident are you that you'll be able to recover and do something new that is fulfilling? And I mean, without pause, I was like 100% confident, 100%. So I think that that's also part of the puzzle. But I get too, I was really raised, and I truly believe that you have to seek out what you love, personally and professionally. No one's going to do that for you. But I do believe in the power of hard work. I do believe in the power of self-study and focusing and determination. And so I think really leaning on a lot of those sort of might sound cliche, but things that I found to be really true.
Okay, I'm curious. Because as you're talking, I'm thinking of Viktor Frankl's book, around the significance of meaning. He was a Holocaust survivor, and how he came out of that environment as a psychiatrist because he felt there was something bigger, right? Some kind of meaning. And what I'm hearing is a very strong belief in yourself, right? That no matter the circumstances, fail or succeed, you knew you could recoup and build it again. It wasn't really going away. So, talk to this idea of meaning. Do you think your life has meaning, or there's something bigger than just this gorgeous Pure Glow franchise that you're building? What's the meaning behind it? There's got to be something bigger in my mind.
I mean, I think for me, a lot of it is, is how do you contribute to the world? And so, for me, I feel, a responsibility, and I also feel a lot of fulfillment to, make people's lives better. And so for me, a lot of, what's always been really important to me, ever since I started Pure Glow is, in our own way as an organization, we really strive to make people feel better. Like that's that, it's that simple. And I know you can, it's easy to say that in beauty and it can sound very, very cheesy. But I truly do believe that we are creating confidence. We're treating people with respect. We are paying attention to them. We are attentive, and, we know how to recruit people who really care and who love working with people, who care about people, who get a sense of satisfaction by treating people the way they deserve to be treated. I often think about, service as to some extent this dying industry. I think it's hard to find good service. And, something that we always talk about internally is, I personally feel like it's very easy to deliver good service. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It's something you can teach, but it's a matter of, it's a choice. Do you do that? Do you provide that effort, or are you, could you care less? And so I think that really the opportunity we have for Pure Glow is, a lot of ways we are, we really champion sort of these values of hospitality. We have a really strong community. We attract people who have the same values as us. And that is, brightening people's day, taking good care of people, making them feel better about who they are, not the way they need to look, or, becoming, a better version of themselves. It's like we're meeting you where you are. And, sort of our tool to provide this confidence is, the experience that we provide, and also this wonderful tool that we call, which is, this organic airbrush tan that, we do feel like makes everything better. Right. There's a pretty strong connection with how you feel, and how you present yourself, and sort of the physical and the mental connection, right? And so, and so really we have an opportunity. And what's nice about what we do is, even though our appointments are 20 minutes, we're seeing 3 people an hour, we're a very efficient business. It's very relationship driven. And so in that time, we might be therapists. We might just be listening to somebody vent about their day. We might, we see a lot of clients weekly, monthly, on a, over the years. We have these incredible relationships we've built over time. And so it's so much more than a transactional service, right? We've seen them through, their, when they were dating, to when they got married, to when they're having their first children, to when they're getting their dream job, to when they're, hitting these incredible milestones. They're in movies, they're going to award shows, they're, accomplishing things in their industry that are unparalleled. And so it's really a cool experience. And so that, that is something that we're really looking to replicate. And for me, I like to, sort of personally have these bite-sized goals. And so I do believe that individuals can change the world in their own world.
Mhm.
And, I think, some people will laugh at that, and some people will, disagree, but, that's the stance that I've taken. And so I truly believe that everyone who's a part of the Pure Glow organization, feels that way and has that desire. And, and that's really well received by the type of client that we're attracting.
That's so cool. I just got this vision while you were talking about like Pure Glow in the background while Pure Glow's clients are celebrities walking down the runway, or on stage receiving rewards. Just Pure Glow always in the back of greatness going on in the front. So you touched on something. You were talking about confidence and the mind-body connection. So having two clients who are dermatologists, we speak about this stuff all the time. So I wanted to know, I read somewhere online that you grew up, and I can't see how this is true because your skin is gorgeous, but I read somewhere online that you grew up struggling with acne. Talk about this mind body connection. Talk about how acne plays on the psyche, what you had to overcome, what you want people to know.
Absolutely. So, I think to some extent, it's hard to talk about caring about your appearance, right? Like at face value, it feels really vain. And even when I first had this sort of eureka moment, like, I think I need to do this, which is, what became Pure Glow. Part of me, really just, sort of asked myself, like, is this a vanity thing? Really wanting to feel this way and have this look, and and of course, I really, thought more about it, and no, there's so much more to it. It's the creating confidence, it's harnessing better ingredients, it's having, the integrity as a brand that is hard to find, and especially as you scale, and really having that promise to consumers, right? It's so much more. But for me personally, it's funny because my parents are both medical, but growing up, it was never brought to my attention that there were solutions for things like severe acne. And so, growing up, it was something that I battled with quite a bit. As anyone who has experienced, battling severe acne, your face is what everyone sees. You put your best foot forward, and so when you have these marks and these things, when you have a skin type like mine, I very easily scar. So you touch your face, that scar is not going away for years. Today, now I'm in this space. I know so much about skincare, beauty, etc. And I have lots of solutions of how to get rid of that scarring very quickly. But as a young person, I didn't have those resources, and I didn't have the internet to learn everything at my fingertips. And it was never recommended that I see a dermatologist, or that there were accessible solutions for this. And so, really, I think what really initially kind of created the strong connection with a tan in my mind was when I was young and I would spend time in the sun. And as we all know, the sun dries your skin out. And as a result, if you are acne prone, it's going to clear your skin up. And so I quickly began to associate a suntan with even flawless skin in my absolute most confident self. And I think of myself as someone who has always preferred the natural approach. In a perfect world, I would not wear a stitch of makeup. I know that's a little bit unrealistic and is not really something we should be promoting and striving for, but nonetheless, it certainly would be my preference.
Yeah.
I like the wild hair, I like the relaxed look, I love to dress casually. And so really, I felt like when I had a tan of any kind, it just, you feel so put together. Everything looks better, right? This universal feeling. Your eyes look better, your jewelry looks better, your outfit looks better. I mean, everything just looks better. And so, that association, was really clear to me as a young person. And then having parents who were very health focused, as I got older, I really knew, okay, your health really is so important. And so I'm not going to put vanity, UV rays, whether it's natural UV rays, whether it's indoor tanning, whether it's, something junky at your makeup counter, I'm really not going to sort of prioritize this over my health. And so that really is sort of what led me, years later, when I did discover how far cosmetic chemistry had come in the sunless tanning space. I really started getting excited. I really went down this self-taught rabbit hole of, ingredients, cosmetic chemistry. And when I discovered that, there were safe ways, there were really safe, effective, long-standing ingredients that can now make these believable sort of looking colors and tones possible, it was really just off to the races. It was like, if I can connect sort of that feeling that I know is universal, that I know transcends, ages, ethnicities, sexes, etc. That really was motivating for me. And that's, sort of really how that got started.
Oh, oh my gosh. I love your passion.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous. And I'm having an envisionment. Just
It's being coined already, Tracy. You are.
I'm writing to Merriam-Webster. That's it. We're getting the word in the book. Yeah.
and that is there's the two parts to this. And it's like an Oreo cookie, right? So you got this make people feel significant, heard, cared for as they come to Pure Glow, which may be the only time in that month or week or whatever that they felt in any way significant. And then the other side of that is, as I feel that, I begin to see that I am worthy, I am significant to take care of myself. And in the middle is this beautiful woman that, if I get it from outside by this customer service, by others caring for me, soon I begin to learn to take care of myself also. And this person in the middle that is glowing because of both of those factors. So I like my envisionment. I love the Pure Glow concept, as you know, Lauren. I want to shift gears. Okay, do you mind if I shift gears just a little bit? When we first met, and as you were building Pure Glow, you were single, and that grittiness and that independence served you well. You've recently married. Tell us a little bit about your husband and what had to shift in your mind to embrace marriage.
That's a really good really good topic, Rebecca. So, I think for me, I've definitely been independent for quite some time, and I've had significant relationships and things, but it's easy for me to prioritize work. It's a huge part of my life. I love it. I'm very passionate about it. And so it's easy as a hard worker to really let that occupy a lot of your time and a lot of your focus and your efforts. And so, when I, met my husband, it became quite obvious to me quite quickly that, he was the one that I wanted to spend my life with. And, but at the same time, it, it has been a work in progress to learn, how to be a true partner and how to, let go of some of that independence and really transition into a team. And so I think one thing that, sort of helps our cause is that he's a very strong-willed, accomplished individual himself, very independent and, has accomplished a lot sort of before we met. And so I think that we both had and have lived a lot of life prior to meeting. It's really amazing. I do personally believe that so much of life is meeting people at the right time. In business and in friendship, the whole nine yards. And so I think it really was amazing, kind of, the time in which we met. We also met 2 months before my diagnosis, which was really truly just a remarkable thing in terms of timing and him being, the right person to experience that with. And we got to know each other quite well, quite quickly. because of that. Because of that, he really showed his true colors, and I didn't really have a choice but to show mine to some extent. So that was really, really, really cool. But yeah, I mean, I think that, it's really amazing because it's something that I'm working on, right, quite a bit professionally, is, how do I transition to this really true, sort of partner in my professional life, and then similarly having, raised capital and beginning to put a really wonderful home office team together. Similarly, I've been sort of welcoming and inviting this similar sort of support, in my professional life. And so again, it's really sort of serving me in both places, and it's a really it's a welcome change, but like any change, it takes some time to get to become proficient and to work well together. So I'm getting it from both sides.
That's great. That's great. So a double question. What do you want people to know about Pure Glow and how can they get a hold of you?
So, so initially, of course, we are, feel like a little bit of a regional brand, but that will be changing very soon. We have some really exciting announcements to share, and we've made a tremendous amount of progress in the little time that we've, made this franchise offering available. I think, the few good ways to reach us. So, on the franchise side, our website, pureglow.com/franchise is a great place to start and learn a little bit about what makes our opportunity so advantageous and unique in the beauty space. Really, we're really teetering on that line of beauty and wellness, which I find to be really exciting and really innovative. And then on the consumer side, again, our Instagram is a great place to stay up on current news. And then our LinkedIn, at Pure Glow as well is a great place to really understand what's going on the business side and some updates. Personally, you can find me on LinkedIn as well. So Lauren Rampello Becotte, and on Instagram at LRamps, and we can link that together. But certainly appreciate sort of learning a little bit more about our concept. What we've been building for almost a decade here. I think it's going to be a really fun road ahead to really see Pure Glow become a bigger player in this innovative beauty industry.
I'm looking forward to that. I love women who take it on, so to speak, and I love watching them grow. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on you, Lauren. So thank you so much for carving out time for us today. We really appreciate it.
It was such a pleasure to speak with you both. I can't wait to do this again soon. So thank you so much for having me.
We loved having you. Tracy, again, over to you for your wrap up.
All right, so this is what's going through my head. I'm a survivor. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to stop. I'm going to work hard. I mean, that is totally your theme song. I'm sorry, my voice is a little hoarse, but that is totally your theme song. But it's not just for the sake of surviving. It's because you have so much more to give in the way of leadership and empowering people and talking. You've got a calling, right? Rebecca touched on it earlier about you have got a calling. So just keep surviving, keep thriving, and we're watching you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I was very impressed the way you pulled out that tune. We have to do that again. That was great.
My voice is a little hoarse right now, but it's all good.
You're so multi-talented, Tracy.
You are. You really are.
Love it. Thank you again, Lauren. And thank you to those of you that are listening in to the Franchise Woman podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships are forged. Make sure to share this interview, like, comment, and of course, we'll see you next week on another episode.